hello, and welcome into episode 1 of Bear Ball. I'm your host, Brendan Barbu, and let's get right into it. So, with episode 1, I think the best place to start has got to be the NBA playoffs. So, this year in the NBA, there's just so much going on. There's so many different great storylines in the NBA playoffs that I think we're in for one of the better playoffs in the last 5 or 6 years. First off, we got to start off with health. If you look at the injury report for most teams, there's only a few key players on these playoff teams that are out right now. Off the top of my head, I know Jaden Ivey. He won't be back till May. I know there's a couple. Damian Lillard, we're not sure on his return yet. They think he might be coming back to the first round, and that's obviously what everyone hopes for. Watching the Bucks play, but other than that, there's most of these teams are healthy at the moment. I mean, obviously you got teams like the Clippers and Lakers with health concerns, with Kawhi, James Harden, and LeBron. But you got a lot of older teams with vets on them, like the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Warriors, all looking to get some more championships. And then you've got a lot of young teams right now, like you got Cleveland in the East, you got OKC and Houston in the West, where a lot of those guys are they haven't proven it in the playoffs just yet, but you never know with this year. They're those three definitely look like they could be contending for a championship. So we gotta start. I think the best place for us to start would be in the East. So as I'm recording this, it's Tuesday, and the playoffs start on Saturday. So the play-in games haven't happened yet. But if I were to guess in the East, I'm gonna guess that we're gonna get Orlando and Chicago as the 7 and 8 seed. I think Orlando will win that first game. Their defense, I mean, they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. And Paolo Banchero, I mean, he's getting better year by year. And I mean, the Magic need to find a way to build something around him. But I think he's going to get his team into the playoffs. And then Chicago has had a really good end to the season. And I just think that they, in a one-on-one with Atlanta, if they get there, I think that they're better than Miami. So I don't see a lot of problem there. But I think that we could see the second team that was a 7-8 seed miss the playoffs this year in Atlanta. I mean, obviously Atlanta, they're not a bad team or anything. I just think that they don't match up well against either of those teams. But you never know. We'll see what Trae Young can do. We've seen Trae Young get his team to the conference finals before. There's definitely a different team than they have nowadays, though. They also have Dyson Daniels on the squad. He looks like he's going to win the most improved player. And I think he's also a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, but I'm not sure if he's a finalist or not. They're a solid squad, but I just think those other two teams are better. But either way, it's not. It doesn't matter that much in the whole scheme of things, because the 7 and 8 in the East are going to have to go up against Cleveland and Boston. And I don't think that's much of a competition at all, honestly. Cleveland, they're such a solid starting five that I know that the depth hasn't been great, but they are not a team that I see losing to any of those teams in the play-in. They have been a little shaky in the second half of the season. They've lost some games where they seem that they're just not as focused as they were earlier in the year, when everyone was talking about them being on like some historic pace, especially to start the year. I think that they, in the first 25 games, I think they were number 1 in the NBA. So I simply don't see them having much of a struggle with Orlando, Atlanta, or Chicago. And then the number 2 seed, Boston. They won the championship last year, and they're just as strong this year. You look at any advanced stats, you look at the record, they're right back at the top of the NBA, just like they were last year. So I see no struggle with them either. I think that they'll probably both end up sweeping their first round opponents. Maybe we can see Banchero lead his team to 1 or 2 victories, but I'm not thinking it's super likely, especially if they end up with a 7 seed against Boston. And now let's move into the first real series we're going to talk about, which is New York and Detroit. So for a lot of people who know me, this series is a little bittersweet. My favorite team in the NBA is Detroit, obviously. Pistons. I've been a Pistons fan since day one. But my second favorite team is the New York Knicks. Funny story, the New York Knicks are my second favorite team in the NBA because my first NBA 2K game was 2K14, and I had no idea what I was doing, so I'm out there playing, and I just knew I loved Amari Stoudemire at the time. Don't really know why, but I wanted to play for the Knicks. And the Knicks had like a mid-round draft pick or something, and back then you had to do the rookie elite showcase to get drafted, and I did horrible in that. And so I get drafted like whatever it was, I can't remember, probably somewhere in the 20s, like 24th, 25th, and it was the New York Knicks. And so that's where I started my career backing up Amari Stoudemire, and that was ever since then been Knicks second. So seeing these two teams play in the playoffs, for me, I'd rather see it in another round or not see it at all. But in this series, I am taking my Pistons. I know I probably sound like just a homer, a big fan, but I really think Detroit matches up well against New York in this series. We just saw them play not that long ago. I know New York was not at full health, and they will be for the series. But honestly, I think Jalen Brunson, I don't think he can guard Cade Cunningham at all. They're probably going to be doubling Cade a lot of the time. And Cade, the thing is that with the Pistons this year is that doesn't work like it did in other years because now we have players like a Tobias Harris, like a Malik Beasley, who can catch and shoot, or they can even get the ball and go make some offense for themselves. So, and defensively, the Pistons, I mean, we are a top 10 defense over the entire year, and if you look since the All-Star break, we are a top 5 defense, I believe. And Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, they're not. It's definitely not going to be easy for us to slow these guys down, especially not in the playoffs. We've seen what Jalen Brunson can do in the playoffs. He switches on a different gear, but I think that the Detroit Pistons have what it takes to keep these games close. And in these close games, I like Detroit's chances. I like Cade Cunningham in the clutch, and I think it's gonna be a hard fought series. If I had to choose, I'm probably gonna go with Pistons in 7. Probably let's see. That would mean we'd have to go into New York and win Game 7, but I definitely think that's something that we're capable of. Of course, all of this depends on, is Cade Cunningham a playoff riser, or does he stay the same, or does he get worse in the playoffs? We don't know that yet. It'll be his first ever trip to the playoffs, and if I had to guess, I'm gonna guess he's a riser. The Knicks, they are a better starting 5 than the Pistons, but the Knicks, they don't have much depth, and I know that doesn't really matter for them because their coach is Tom Thibodeau. He doesn't plan to play any backups in the playoffs anyways. So I think Detroit, we have more versatile defenders we can throw at Jalen Brunson than they do at Cade Cunningham, I think. I mean, they have Mikal Bridges as a good defender. But I mean, outside of that, OG Anunoby, he can disrupt him when he gets into the paint and stuff and on switches. But I don't think he's not going to be up in his face guarding him all game. I think a lot of this is dependent on the first 2 games. I think if we can steal one of those 2 games, then I really like our chances. Without getting one of those first 2 games, though, I'm definitely not too sure if we can come back in Detroit and then win 2. But the thing, I'm not saying that we can't defend home court or nothing, but just with how young the team is, and especially our most important players, I think that if we get down 0-2, it's going to put a lot of stress on them. I definitely want to see us go out there and compete for Game 1. If we can go out there still Game 1, that would definitely help us a lot. We all know that the Knicks like to hang their hat on defense, or at least that's what Tom Thibodeau likes to hang his hat on. But this New York Knicks defense has not really been that good this year. It's not been terrible or anything, but they're middle of the road in defense rating. And their offense over the last 15 games has also been slipping. They're a little bit under middle of the road on offensive rating over the past 15 games. So if New York wants to go out there and win this series like they're predicted to do by Vegas and by a lot of people out there, then they need to improve on what they've been putting out there the last 15 to 20 games. They made a they made a trade that I think that they benefited from more, getting Karl Anthony Towns and giving up Julius Randle and a couple other pieces. But because we all know that Tom Thibodeau, he's looking to win with this team right now. And his type of winning is to do it with the 5 guys that are out there starting the game. He wants those guys to be the guys who are there out in crunch time. And let's see, it doesn't always work deep into the playoffs. Obviously, the first round, it could work. It has worked for them in the past. But I think JB Bickerstaff in his first playoffs is going to prove that he's got more adjustments that he can make than Tom Thibodeau is willing to make. So I'm very excited to watch this series, especially as a Pistons fan. I'm going to see if I can get out there to a game, but this series is going to be so much fun. The Pistons, we haven't been to the playoffs since 2019, and we haven't won a playoff series since 2008, and that was back when we had that one stacked roster who took us to the finals, and then we lost the next finals, and then lost three straight Eastern Conference finals. Um, Ever since then, for my Pistons, which has been unfortunately, most of my watching experience with the Pistons has been missing the playoffs and losing the first round. So I would definitely like to watch my Pistons win a playoff series. I think we definitely have a decent shot this year. So Pistons in 7, baby. Next up, we're talking about the Bucks and the Pacers. So Vegas has got the Pacers winning this series. They've got it minus 200 plus 160, so it's definitely close. And in this one, I gotta take the Bucks, man. I know that the Pacers, they're only 2 games better than the Bucks, so it's not like they were a way better team, and that's why they got home court. Um, the Pacers have been solid all year. They don't have they haven't had too many super up stretches and too many super down stretches. They're a solid team. They're led by Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. They've got a bunch of decent shooters out there, and when you take a look at their advanced metrics, they're ninth all over the entire year in offensive rating, and they are 14th in defensive rating for the year. In the last 15 games, they are 6th in defensive rating and 14th in offensive rating. So the defense is taking a step up right for the playoffs, which is definitely something you want to see if you're a Pacers fan. But I'm taking the Bucks in this series, man. And it's not because I think that the Bucks are a way better team, not better constructed, but I think simply that Giannis is on a tear right now, and I've seen Giannis in the playoffs. I don't think that the Pacers have anything to slow him down. Now I know that it might not matter because the Bucks they're not a team that proven to be very good defensively themselves. They're not bad. They're right around middle of the road. They're 12th in defensive rating and 10th in offensive rating for the entire year. So they're an all around solid squad. Damian Lillard, we don't know the health of him. If he is coming back, I definitely like them in the series more. I think Vegas would change the odds if we know Damian Lillard will be back. We know that he's going to make a try for it. He's been back on the basketball court. But Giannis, he's been going off lately. He against the Pistons again in a huge game to basically decide the 5 seed and get this matchup with the Pacers. Giannis goes out there and he drops 32, 15, and 11, and he leads the Bucks to a 6-point victory over the Pistons. So I think this is gonna be another really good series. I'm taking the Bucks in 6 here though. I like them to take one of these first 2 games in Indiana. The travel is incredibly short. I mean, we're talking one state over. We could definitely see a decent amount of Bucks fans there, but Indiana normally shows out for their sports teams. The Pacers, I don't think that they are a team that we're going to see consistently getting deep into the playoffs. I know they made an Eastern Conference Finals run last year, but I don't think that's something that we should be expecting again from them. Tyrese Halliburton, he's proving he's one of the best point guards in the East. Probably he's got to be a top 5 point guard in the NBA at this point, I believe. And if he could go out there and win another playoff series against the Bucks, that'd be huge for him. But we'll see what's going to happen, man. I think it's going to be a really good series. Other than that, I mean, that's basically it for the East, and it's time to move on to the West. The plan for the West is crazy this year. We're going to start off with Golden State versus Memphis, and we all know that those 2 teams have a lot of history. It was only a couple of years ago that the Golden State started off as an 8 seed, lost to the Lakers, and then lost their playoff berth to the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's gonna be a fun one to watch. Memphis, they ever since they got Ja back, man, they're a good squad. They fired their head coach. I thought Taylor Jenkins was a fine head coach. I don't really see the point in firing him that late in the year, especially when they were looking like they were gonna be a top 6 seed in the West, but now you find yourself falling all the way to the 8th seed. You got to travel to Golden State. I honestly, talent-wise, I think that Memphis is a more talented squad. Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the best defenders in this entire league, and now he's out here averaging 22 points a game, somewhere around there. And John Morant's back. This team there's a very solid squad. Golden State has been on fire since they got Jimmy Butler. But we saw San Antonio they ruined their mojo, and they kind of threw the entire season off for him. I mean, it looked like Golden State was going to climb to the 4 or all the way to the 5 seed, and then we see them lose that game. They lose that last game to the Clippers, and now they're fighting for their life in the play-in. We've seen them lose from being a team in the 7-8 spot and not make the playoffs. So is it something we could see again? I don't think so, because I think that the winner of this matchup is going or sorry, the loser of that matchup is going to go on to beat Sacramento or Dallas. This is a year where I don't think the plan needs to exist. There's no reason that Memphis or Golden State should have a chance to lose their spot to Sacramento or Dallas. Over the course of the season, I mean, they're both 8 games better than Sacramento. So why does Sacramento have a chance to beat them and now get into the playoffs? I don't know. For me, that doesn't make much sense. But there's a lot to talk about, honestly. The thing is that, unfortunately, at this moment of recording this, I'm not exactly so sure who OKC and Houston are going to be facing in the first round. The thing is, I think I would choose the first and second seed OKC and Houston to win both of those matchups. And here, the thing is, I know a lot of people are going to be choosing against Houston in the first round, especially if it is Golden State, because Golden State has all this experience, whereas Houston has no experience other than their head coach Ime Udoka. I mean, obviously Fred VanVleet has been there, but outside of that, they really, I mean, all of their best players are super young, and this is going to be their first ever playoff run. I mean, when you're looking at the roster, you got Jalen Green. This is gonna be his first playoff run. He's been great this year, averaging 21 a game. He's not done it the most efficiently, but he's the leading scorer, and he's also been bringing on the defensive end. Along with that, you've got Şengün. We've all watched him go from this just average player coming off the bench with some talent to what he is now. And this year, he actually took a little bit of a step back, I think, offensively this year, going from last year he averaged 21.1, this year down to 19.1. That probably that comes along with Jalen Green increasing his scoring. But I mean, this squad, they won all these games for a reason. I mean, a lot of people are counting them out already. If you look at Vegas, they have them nowhere near the favorite list for championship contenders. But this team is very solidly built. You got Jalen Green, Şengün, as I just mentioned, Fred VanVleet, I already mentioned, and you've got the Thompson twin. You got Amen Thompson. He's been a phenomenal defender. He's so long, he's so fast, so quick. This team, they're just very well built, and I definitely could see them making a deep playoff run here. And I know that Golden State matchup would be very, very enticing because, I mean, Steph Curry in the playoffs, especially in the first round, I can't remember the last time he lost in the first round. It's probably happened, but we all remember that against the Kings that he went on fire in Game 7. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially if it's Golden State and Houston. Outside of that, let's start with the Lakers and Minnesota. So this series is going to be crazy. So the thing is that Minnesota has a lot of height. They got Rudy Gobert, they got Naz Reid, they got Julius Randle. He's not the tallest, but the thing is, the Lakers don't have much height at all, and their height is not great defensively. Jackson Hayes, you can't really trust him defensively. LeBron, he's not playing defense like he used to. You got Rui Hachimura, he's not terribly defensive. He's not terrible defensively, I meant to say. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Lakers deal with all that height. The thing is, since the trade deadline, though, and they made that crazy trade for Luka, I just do not understand how the Lakers get this lucky all the time, getting so many great all-time greats in this game. But, Luka falls in their lap, and we all thought that they were going to be terrible defensively, and it's actually not been true. They've been one of the better defenses since they made the trade. Do I think that's going to keep up in the playoffs, though? We'll see. I mean, when a team has 7 games to figure you out, it can definitely change things. We saw Minnesota last year. They went further than any of us thought they would. And maybe not than any of us thought they would, but a lot of people thought that Phoenix would take them down with all their experience. Didn't happen. And then they also got through Denver with Jokic. So this team is very well built. It's going to be a very close series. The Lakers, they have been great since they got Luka. Offensively, you just knew this was going to work. You got Luka and LeBron, two of the smartest players ever on the court, and it's honestly been beautiful to watch. But defensively, there's a lot to worry about. If I had to make a decision here, though, I'm going to take the Lakers. I think it's going to be 6 or 7. I'm going to go, I mean, obviously I'm hoping for 7, but I'm going to take 6 here. Minnesota, they've caught fire at the end of the year. That's the thing. Can they keep this hot streak going from, I think they're 18-3 in the last 21 games. They're one of the best teams in advanced metrics as well when you look at the last 15 to 25 games. And that's the best time to be playing your best basketball, is right before the playoffs. So we'll see if they can carry all that momentum in. I think this series should be a lot of fun, man. We all know LeBron's playoff history, especially in the first round. He's been dominant. So I predict that he's going to keep doing the same thing even at age 40, which is crazy to say. I still have full confidence that LeBron James is going to be, if not the best player in this series, he's probably going to be the second best player in this series. I think he'll end up having a better series than either Luka or Anthony Edwards, but of course, we'll have to see that. But yeah, this series is going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm very excited for this one. And next up, we got Denver and the Clippers. This one, I'm honestly, a lot of people know I'm a big Jokic fan. I have been for years. I just think that the way he plays the game is just so much fun to watch. He's such a great passer. He is just, it feels like he has a control over the game that a lot of other players don't have. And I know defensively, he's not the best defender, but he's not as terrible as a lot of people make it out to seem. He's got fast hands, and he does put his hands up for a lot of contests. We all know he has almost no vertical. The Denver Nuggets, though, they just fired their coach, Mike Malone, after just 2 years out from winning a championship. They said it was because of a toxic relationship with the GM, and they're hoping it's going to light a fire. We know that right now that it has been. They've won their last 3 games. Jokic said that they've awoken the beast in him, so we'll see what that means for the playoffs, because we saw what happened a couple of years ago, man. When he's on fire, he's on fire. I think he shot something like, it was 45 to 50% from 3 and 60% from the field in that playoff run. So I don't know if we're going to get something like that again, obviously. This is a much tougher road through the playoffs we'll have this year than that year, I think. But it's going to be a fun series. The Clippers, though, they've been probably the best team in the NBA over the last 25 games, if I'm being honest. Ever since Kawhi's been back, and they've got James Harden, Norman Powell, that team, Ivan Zubac, like that team is just stacked. The thing is, though, about the Clippers that we all know is Kawhi is injury prone. James Harden is due for a bad playoff game or series, and so you don't know how much you can trust him. The thing is, though, I think in round 1 here, I'm going to have to take the Clippers, because I think that that's not going to rear its ugly head here in round 1. Yeah, Denver, you got a first-year head coach. Obviously, it might not matter too much. We've seen first-year head coach have decent success in the playoffs before. But, when you get thrown in with only 3 games or 4 games left in the season, how much can you really learn in that much time? We know that he's been making a lot of the offensive calls over the year, and that's why watching them, they've been shooting even less threes since he's taken over. It's actually one of my biggest gripes with the Nuggets is that they need to take more threes. Like, I know that they have Jokic and Murray who play beautiful two-man basketball, but the thing is that when you play this way, you're giving yourselves less opportunities to score those points, and you're not a great defensive team. Even when they won the championship, they were one of the worst defenses in 25 years to win a championship. And with this historically low, not historically low, but by far the lowest in the NBA, when you're shooting that low of threes, you've got to make them. And they are the highest in field goals, obviously, because of their shot selection. But they're not playing good enough defense to where I can trust that this is going to work again. Jokic last time had to carry the squad. I know, Jamal Murray had a great playoff. But if you go back and look, none of the other guys had a great playoff. Aaron Gordon was decent. MPJ was up and down. And ever since then, they've just not been the same team. They just keep getting a step further away and a step further away. And I think a lot of it honestly comes down to ownership. You have one of the best players in the world, and the team consistently, year by year, keeps losing important role players to help them win that championship. So I personally do not understand how you can be cheap when you have the best player you've ever had in your entire franchise's history. I think it's going to cost them this year, and they're going to lose in the first round, and Jokic is going to probably say, hey, man, I am not dealing with this. I'm not a loser. So I'm going to have to take the Clippers winning round 1. So that concludes my round 1 prediction. And I think it's time to give you guys what I think is going to be the NBA Finals. So A lot of you guys might think this is boring or I'm just copping out, but I'm taking OKC and Boston. The thing is, let's start with Boston. I think Boston's going to get there because I think they're just the best team in the East. They're Joe Mazzulla, his crazy strategy of shoot by far the most threes and play defense clearly works. I don't think that they showed as much focus in this regular season as the last one, and they still are one of the best teams in the NBA. They have so many players that can score 10 plus points, and you got Peyton Pritchard, Al Horford, you got Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis. The list goes on and on. This team is stacked. This team is well coached. A lot of people had questions about Joe Mazzulla, and he went out there and proved it, man. This defense is still one of the best defenses in the NBA. And again, I don't believe they've been playing with full focus that we will see from them in the playoffs. I think them and Cleveland are going to be, it's going to be a great series whenever we get to it, but I think that they're going to take them down again. Um, Other than that, OKC, the thing with them is that I think it's going to come down to matchups a lot. I think that we'll see in round one. I think the round one matchup could honestly be very tough, and we'll see if that gets them off to the wrong foot, starting off the playoffs. But outside of that round one matchup, which I think could be kind of hard to start off, if they get the Clippers, which I predicted, as I told you, Kawhi and James Harden, the deeper you get into the playoffs, the less you can trust them. So outside of that, I'll leave the rest for the predictions when they come. But my finals prediction is going to be Boston to repeat over OKC. Now the thing is, we have not seen a repeat champion since the 2018 Warriors, I believe. It's one of the longest stretches we've had in the NBA without a repeat champion. And it's been multiple years since a champion has made it deep into the playoffs. I think it's been 5 or 6 years since a champion has made it back to the conference finals. Excuse me, and it's going to be interesting to see if Boston can kind of break that curse. So that's what I got in the NBA. Awards. I was going to get into the awards, but I think a lot of us are in agreement now. It's probably going to be Shea as the MVP. Jokic had a great year statistically, but he didn't lead any of the statistical categories. I know he's top 3 or top 4 in 4 categories, which is just insane. But Shea led his team to 18 more victories, so I don't think it's much of a competition anymore. Defensive Player of the Year is looking like it's going back to Evan Mobley, which I think it should. Defensive Player of the Year should not have been Draymond Green. He just started talking about it, and people went, hey, man, you're right. We need to give this guy another Defensive Player of the Year. But when you go and watch it, he has not been the best defensive player this year. So it looks like all these awards are going to the people that they really should be. So I think it's time to get into another segment of mine. I'm going to be calling Barbu's Bets. So I went and I made some. I went and looked into the DraftKings sportsbook for you guys, and what I got for game ones, I've got the Detroit Pistons covering a +7 spread in game one in New York. First off, I think that spread's pretty high. The thing is, in the NBA, it's always kind of hard to predict a spread, especially in the playoffs. In game one, you never know. Is New York going to come out there and just kick our ass? I don't think so. I think Detroit really needs game one. They need to go win one of those first 2 games in New York if they want to win this series. And I really think that they can go out there and make game one competitive. So I think +7 for the Detroit, that's a really good bet. And then we got Minnesota. I'm taking Minnesota +4.5 against the Lakers in LA. Again, I really think that's going to be a nice close game. The Minnesota is on fire right now, and I think that they're going to continue that at least in game one. I think Minnesota is definitely capable of taking one of those first 2 games in LA, and we know LeBron is not the best in game ones. He sometimes uses them as a feel out process to see how the series is going to go. So I could see Minnesota taking that game as well, especially covering that 4.5 spread. And my last one, I'm taking another underdog, man. I'm taking Milwaukee +5. I think Milwaukee is going to win that first game. I think Giannis knows the importance of winning the first game when you're the underdog. And that's going to lead me into my same game parlay. Every week, I'm going to give you guys a same game parlay. And this one is a Milwaukee Bucks at Indiana Pacers game 1. This is going to be a Giannis parlay. 30 plus points for Giannis, 10 rebounds, a 3-pointer, and a Milwaukee Bucks money line. That's going to give you +700 juice. Trust me, hit that with me. You're going to make some money on that one. So, if you don't believe me, you can always fade Barbu's Bets. down in the comments below. Let me know. You guys think that's fire or fade, man? All right, and really quickly, I also want to get into the NFL draft. I'm not going to do a whole mock draft right now, but I do want to talk about a couple of these picks here, especially Shedeur Sanders. It's a very interesting situation what's going on with him. It seems like every time I read about it, it seems like someone else, like he's going to go somewhere else in the draft. No one really knows where he's going to go. It seemed like a week ago, everyone was, ready for him to get drafted by the Steelers and be the next great, Big Ben Roethlisberger. But now, it looks like he could be going to Cleveland. He could be going to the Saints. He could be going to the Giants. Personally, I think it's still hard to pinpoint down. If I had to guess right now, though, I'm gonna take the Saints at number 9, getting him. I think that the first 3 picks I really do believe will be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. And then obviously it's gonna be Will Campbell, the offensive tackle, at number 4 for the Patriots as well. The Patriots aren't gonna pass up on that. Abdul Carter, he's a freak. I mean, I definitely think he should be a top 3 pick. Travis Hunter, we know that the Browns want him. They basically have said that straight out, and we know that the Titans are taking Cam Ward. So, really, the interesting part is the Shedeur Sanders story. We all know, he has talked about being a high draft pick, to get that money for a long time. And I also saw a report saying that they might retire his number at Colorado with a 12-13 record, which I just think is hilarious. Like, he's a good quarterback, but he's definitely not a legendary college quarterback. And I think that he let the fame get to his head a little bit. But I think he's gonna be a decent NFL quarterback. I think there'll always be a story with him, and it's gonna be fun to follow. I'll tell you that much. But when it comes to actual arm talent and intangibles and all those things that make a quarterback important, I don't think that he's up there with Cam Ward. I do think that he has that dog in him, though. I think that if you take him, you can expect someone who's going to compete, kind of like on a Jameis Winston level, though, like a guy who just really cares. But we'll see if he cares about football or more so if he's just caring about himself and his money. The NFL draft, though, it's coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, man. As a Detroit Lions fan, I'm very interested to see how Brad Holmes does this year. I feel like every year I trust in Brad Holmes, so I trust in him once again, even with a later draft pick, to go get us some fire, man. We need some help on that defense. We could use some help on the interior offensive line, so I want to see both of those get addressed. It's looking like I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts have us taking the one defensive end out of Texas A&M, and I would definitely love that. I would love to get another beastly defensive end along with Aiden Hutchinson there. I saw Aiden Hutchinson is back running again. He's working out, so I definitely think he'll be back to 100% next year. It's a bone thing, so it's not something that I'm super worried is going to happen again. We need to find another more edge rushers, more defensive linemen, more linebackers who can go put pressure on that quarterback with him and make this front seven a real force in the NFL, man. Really quickly, I want to touch up on WrestleMania 41. All I really have to say about this is John Cena and Cody Rhodes. It's going to be a fun main event, man. I think you got to give John the title, man. Give John number 17. Let him be the GOAT. We all already know he's the GOAT. But I'm excited to see the way we get there. The Rock is going to throw in some shenanigans. The crowd's going to go nuts for Cody. But I think Cody has served his right as a champion, man. He has held on to the title for a year. It's what he had to do after beating Roman, who held on to it for 1,000 days or something. But honestly, I don't think Cody with a championship makes him any more intriguing for the WWE. I think that they could get more out of throwing some other dudes in that scene, like a Braun Breaker, get John Cena back in there right now, CM Punk, all those guys. I think those guys are the ones who would benefit more from it at this moment. Outside of that, you got the triple threat match happening with CM Punk, Seth, and Roman. But I don't think this card is as stacked as last year's looked on paper. We'll see how it actually plays out for the show. Sometimes that actually makes for the best show, so you never really know, man. But I've had a lot of fun talking to you guys today. I hope you guys have had a lot of fun listening. Just remember, you'll be able to find this show on just about all streaming platforms and on YouTube. So I hope you guys have had a great time listening to me this week. Just remember, you only live once, so don't waste time on negativity. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.